Hello?
Is that within their fecal matter is salmonella. So, like, if you were to go out and explore in the woods, right, and you were to come across wolf droppings, and you were to accidentally...
Hang on. Have you sent me the things?
I'm sending them right now.
Okay. Alright, sorry, yeah, go on.
I'm just kind of article dumping.
Yeah, no worries.
There you go. There's two. But, like...
No,
yes,
I was just confused because I hadn't got them. I was worried that you.
I put them in the conspiracy chat, VC.
Oh shit! Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that all knowledge comes from experience?
It's not what we're talking about right now.
Like, do you think that all knowledge like only comes from experience, or do you think there's certain like things that we can know that exist prior to our experience?
Why didn't you join philosophy chat to ask this?
Shut up, bro. No one like talks about what the chat is. How long have you been in this server?
You know what?
You've been here for a while. Why do you like not know that?
That is true. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough.
Wait, did that person leave already?
Yeah. Yeah, they do so.
I mean, that's a very interesting philosophical question that he asked about knowledge coming from experience. I would say that knowledge does come from experience. In just purely the sense that there's no you behind the you that makes you into the person that you are, right? The only reason that you have the thoughts that you have and the personality that you become is because the blank slate that you are born as a baby is forged by the world that you're born into.
You and I both know that there's more to it than that.
Sorry, what?
You and I both know that there's more to it than that.
Well, I mean, there's obviously some genetical things, like, okay, so you could be born with autism, or something, right, which will make you learn things a little bit differently, or even something more severe, like Down syndrome.
Hello.
But essentially...
Identical twins have different personalities, regardless of the experiences that they're given. Like, there are more complex elements of the human soul and psyche than just experience. Experience is a huge part to play, but it's only one piece of the puzzle.
Sorry, wait, what did you say? Did you say identical twins have the same personalities despite different... I didn't hear that, sorry.
Identical twins will have different personalities despite potentially experiencing the exact same lives together. Plenty of parents of identical twins have kind of tested this, where each one of their kids in the identical pairing will experience literally the same life, wear the same clothes. Like, it's kind of like a min-max.
That's not far-fetched, though.
Parenting. Well, no,
but
my point is, even because I mean, this has been happening for since time immemorial, more or less. But the children themselves will, by default, have different personalities in the identical twin pairing. Like and keep in mind too, identical twins are kind of rare actually, but when they do happen, as soon as they start developing personality-wise, they are different.
Yeah, like so.
I actually know a pair of identical twins.
I mean,
the Wright sisters.
it's obviously both nature and nurture, right? Like most of the time when people are asking, is it nature or nurture? It's really a combination.
It's both.
Of the two.
Yeah, it's absolutely both. Very, very few things in the natural world are all or nothing. Very, very few things. But that Starlet, I would say that, like, relevant to the natural world, I will say this. You being trans, for example, because you said it as a joke, but then you doubled down and were like, no, I really am trans. No, you're not. You're a confused male that doesn't know where you belong. You've allowed elements of femininity to infect the deepest elements of who you are and what you could become. And you've rejected what you could become because it's too difficult to get there, because there's too many mile markers in front of you to reach.
Well, I would say that you're deluded by social constructs of gender ideologies.
Not at all. There is no construction to gender. There is no construction to the sexual reproductive capabilities.
Well, yes, there is. So why do men wear suits and women wear dresses?
I mean, they don't. Women wear suits too. That's more of an element of time as it's passed.
It's
like
an element
the dress
of culture that has been constructed
have changed
socially
over time and continue to change.
No.
So speaking towards dressing habits as though they have any bearing on somebody's sexual capabilities or their sexual awareness is kind of a silly notion. And one I would argue comes from a potentially actually the lack of what's the word I'm looking for here? It would come from specifically in the 1900s. The lack of
groundedness
in society, self-import in the 1900s for most of that century just didn't matter. Self-worth, self-value. It was all about the collective, more or less, trying to help society continue forward. And so people didn't get to properly express themselves. I think that's a part of why postmodernism propped itself up. But the idea that you just propagated forward is definitely a postmodernist look of things, and it's not particularly helpful for anybody because it only adds confusion. It doesn't actually clear anything up.
So
why does
I wanted to ask
only
real
add
quick,
confusion?
to the person who said that they were trans, do you think that there are genetic differences between the sexes that translate to these cultural norms?
Sorry, say that again?
I wanted to ask, do you think that there are biological differences between the sexes that translate to these cultural norms?
Okay, you said that differently each time. Genetic differences or biological differences? Because you said it differently each time, though.
You could go with either one.
Yeah, I mean, genetic is biologic, so it doesn't really matter how you say it.
Yes, genetics are biological, but they're a subcategory of biology, right? But anyway, okay.
I think you understand what I'm trying to say, though.
I think I get what you mean. Yes. Are there So, repeat that again.
So, for example, you could look at different sorts of jobs that men and women tend to gravitate towards. For example, like construction or the military, right? Those are traditionally masculine jobs. And if you're willing to grant that men on average have higher levels of upper body strength, testosterone, then you could
I do grant that,
you could
yes.
acknowledge that these cultural norms do have a basis in biology.
I also grant that, yes.
Okay. Now I'm willing to go the other way too and say that some of it, I mean, some of it you could say is kind of, I guess there is some malleability there, right? Like, I'm not saying it's like purely deterministic, but I think that biology plays a huge part in these traditional gender roles.
Yes, I think to a degree you're right. It's obvious that biology plays some part, as in, like, as a really basic example, strength-based gender roles would be more masculine-based than feminine-based, right? Which is kind of like the example you were drawing, right, with construction. Obviously, but then when it comes to purely aesthetic things, which are just the chance of social evolution, so as in women wear dresses, men wear suits. I know I've made this example twice, but it is quite a good one because all it links to is aesthetic.
Well, actually, I could counter that real quick and say that these traditional ways of dressing, I think they tie into jobs, you know, roles in society that throughout history, men and women have been occupying, right? Like, men, if they're going to be doing these jobs...
Wait, hang on.
Wait,
do you mean like
real quick?
specifically suits and dresses do?
Well, I was going to say that if men throughout history have tended to do certain jobs due to, again, we granted that there's some genetic stuff going on there.
Yeah.
They have to dress a certain way. Like, their clothes have to be, I mean, they can't be open, right? Like, they can't be loose and flowing if they're going to be working on, like, heavy machinery or... You see what I'm saying? Like, it does... Form follows function to a degree. And so, if men and women are going to be doing different jobs based on, you know, genetic predispositions, it makes sense that their clothes would match those jobs. I don't think it's purely, like, made up like a lot of people on the left like to say that it is. It's not like...
Well, how recent of a development do you think that would be, though?
I mean, I think a lot of it, actually.
What? No, I mean, how recent of a development? Okay, you're talking about, so, generally, societally, men would not wear loose, flowing clothes, is how you said it, right? Because of, like, the kind of jobs that they may have. How recent do you, like, of a development do you think that would be?
I think it's a very old one.
You think it's quite, like...
Yeah, I mean,
stretches very far back in time.
I think you could go back to like hunter-gatherer societies, right? To the natural, like the traditional roles that men and women would have in a hunter-gatherer society. Men and women are going to be dressed differently according to what they're doing on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that men dressing a certain way and women dressing a certain way, I think that has happened for a long time, and I think that there is like a strong genetic component to that.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
It's kind of an indirect genetic thing, right? Like if you're willing to grant that men and women genetically, there's, you know, roles kind of that they tend to occupy, their clothing will follow that. So, yeah, I think it stems from genetics. That being said, you know, I don't know, like, I think it's...
So can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, sorry, my mic was muted for a second there.
Personally, I think it's very rare that, like, you know, the left likes to put the example of like a kid who's born a certain way, knows they're born a certain way, they grow up feeling...
Well, hang on. Let's not get caught up in like left versus right, Democrat, Republican. Like I don't argue from any political point of view.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, some people like to argue that, it's the classic born in the wrong body or whatever. I think that probably does happen.
Yeah, so I think that's a really good way of... I don't agree when people say, when trans people use the terminology born in the wrong body. I don't agree that scientifically is accurate, but I think it's an incredibly good way of describing how they feel, right? So, for me, I think
it's a bullshit way that people try to pass off their personal...
What I think is more accurate is saying that there are many things that there are many things that make up how you feel, that your sexuality is allocated, right? So your brain state is one of them, your hormones are another one, your genitals are another one, your chromosomes are another one, and you could be in the more physical attributes aligned with male.
Wait, list those all again?
Male spectrum, and then on the more internal. Sorry.
List those all for me again.
So you could like brain state, hormones, chromosomes, genitals, right? Those were the four that I mentioned. There's more things that you can find if you like look into it, but.
And you're speaking on on these properties as though they are what exactly? Like what's the point of the list here?
Well, I'm talking about different parts about different sort of biological attributes that someone may have to make them feel a certain way.
And do you think that there's a million possibilities for how those biological attributes...
Sorry, you broke up. A million possibilities for how those biological attributes what?
will coalesce? Like, how many permutations can you have between a...
I don't know. I don't know how many permutations.
And vagina. How many permutations?
I don't know about how many permutations. No, but like I would say it's more of a spectrum than a binary.
How exactly?
Okay, so you could be like physically male.
Is there like a spectrum of nine? Is that like a thing?
No.
Various forms and types of penises.
No, that's not what I'm saying. So physically,
penises. Sorry, that's a Fallout reference. I'm sorry. Continue. I had a throwaway Fallout reference.
Okay, your audio quality is really bad, so I couldn't hear you. I'm really sorry. No, so you can have. Okay, so physically, of course, you can be like physically, it's like genitalia and your sort of masculine or feminine physical appearance, right? This is obvious. This is what people look at. This is what people see. Which is why gender and sex is so sort of intuitive. But then there's a lot of things going on internally that people don't see and people don't understand, which is where brain states and hormones and chemistry come into it.
Okay, so first and foremost, what is brain state?
Okay, so like you could have more feminine or more masculine ways of thinking.
Oh, Brennan.
What's up? How's it going?
Pretty good, so what brings the VC?
Just
The freeway.
screaming, hanging out.
What's
Streaming
your,
and hanging out.
what do you usually stream?
YouTube.
Right on.
But yeah, I was just I was just asking. I was talking to another guy before. Two people were arguing, and then some guy left. I was asking about ideologies. I was asking about how do you believe? Do you believe all ideologies can work if one person can do it well, or is there certain ideologies that can never work no matter what person is put in front of it?
So you like Mosley?
You can. You're finally the first person actually. Fucking. No, I'm serious. You're probably the first person to actually figure that out the whole day.
Really? No one
Like,
knows what that means.
No one know. Yeah, no one does their history. No one does history.
Mm.
Yeah, I am. I'm still learning about fascism, but I'm trying to go with it. I've been learning about speeches. I've been, I'm trying to learn on it. I'm trying to learn on ideologies right now.
Right.
What
So I'm
started
not.
that for you?